Hello guys, I'm going to teach you how to make a gear in a mix simulator, and because all the tutorials suck and are outdated, so I'm going to show you how to make gear. So first you're going to need to get Photoshop, because you just need Photoshop to make gear, and you could either do Photoshop or GIMP, which GIMP is free, and that's what I started on, so you could use GIMP, but I would recommend Photoshop, just like when you get better to get Photoshop. But so what we're going to do is we're going to go in here into Google and search up TM Factory Racing, and I'll put this in the description. I'll put the link to it. And so once we do that, we're going to go, so it shows up all this stuff. So where we're going to go is we're going to go to templates right here. It says templates. So we're going to go here, and then we're going to pick out a gear set, which I personally, I'm like, I think I'm going to let's get this A-Star fluid speed. I'm just going to get this stuff. I'm like, okay, this looks pretty cool. So now I'm going to download this PSD. And then I'm going to download it. So it's downloading right here. And so while that is downloading, I'm going to show you what else you guys will need. So you need the PSD, and then you guys will need JMs, which this was always the hard part for me when I was learning how to make gear. And so I'll make this easier for you guys. So a JM is basically the 3D model that shows up in game. So if you don't have a JM, you won't be able to make gear. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to let me see. You'll probably will have to go to and buy a JMs, because JMs are not free. So what you have to do is you'll have to buy a JMs, or you could do this. You could, let me see if I can find it. There is a free model, but it's not very good. It's old and outdated. But one that you could do is JLV's, which he made the newer one, which is the one I'll be showing you guys how to use. But you'll have to go to and buy it from him. And I don't remember the prices, but you'll have to buy that from him. And then once you do that, he'll give you the JMs and this PSD. So after we do that, we'll have the JMs and PSDs. But so now what we need to do is finish downloading. So we're gonna put this on my desktop, and I'm going to open it. And then this will open up in Photoshop. So Photoshop is opening. And once we open Photoshop, we're going to put our numbers and stuff. So our numbers, and make it into, and then put it back on our desktop. If it'll open. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so this is the gear. So we're going to click this little eyeball thing right here. Wait, don't click that, never mind. Sorry. We're going to click this down arrow, and then you'll see all this stuff. You're like, what's this? So we're going to click the eyeball on this title. Click the eyeball on that. So now you see this. So this is our gear. And then this is our normal gear. So this is what we'll use to put our numbers and stuff on. And then this is the norm. It looks like this. It's to give it like when you're in the video game, it'll give it like more detail. And then the spec, which is this, it'll make it like less like bright, and it'll make it look more like, give it more shading to it. But we don't need to worry about that right now so far. So we have this. So first we need to get our boots in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and get our boots, which you guys will have to buy from JLV, but I already bought them, so I'm going to go into all of my PSDs and stuff. And then I'm going to go into and get my boots. So here are my boots and stuff. So these are my boots. So I'm going to open them. And this is the folder that JLV will give you when you buy it from him. So you'll open them. You open, not, what just happened? Oh God. Sorry. Okay, so we're gonna open this, and we're gonna open this folder, and I'll show you this. What we're gonna need to open is, so this right here, these are our jams, and then there's our blend. Here are jams. You guys can choose to buy the blend. I think that's what he does, but, so here are jams and stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open the PSD in Photoshop. So we're gonna open this. Opening. If I can click a button. Okay, so we are opening this, and this is the boots. So see right here, we can see our boots and stuff right here. What we're gonna need to do is we need to get rid of this gear because we have our gear right here. So what we're gonna need to do is we will go into here, which says diffuse. We're gonna click this arrow. Here, we can minus out the wire right here. See where it says wire? Click the eyeball. So it takes away that little wire thing. But now we're gonna go in here and click this eyeball on the writer. So then the writer disappears. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to right click this thing that says Tech 10. We're gonna right click it. And we're gonna go duplicate group. And we're gonna click document and put it in 2022 A-Star Fluid Speed PSD. Okay, and then we're click OK. So now what that just did is it put the boots into this PSD. So now we have the boots in there, but now that's not it. We have to put the norm and the spec in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing we just did. We're gonna right click it, duplicate group, put it into the A-Star Fluid Speed PSD, click OK. And then we're gonna do the same thing that we just did with the spec. Duplicate group, A-Star Fluid Speed. Okay. And then, so now we have all of this stuff in here. So let's say you wanted to put your numbers on it now. So this is when you can put your numbers on it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to here, says image. You're gonna do image rotation 180. And then let this load. And then it'll flip it upside down. And then what we're gonna do next is we're gonna put our numbers and name. So I'm just gonna kind of do this quickly so it won't look that good. So I'm gonna click this. Now put this, so I'm gonna click a new text layer. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, click the zoom tool. And then I'm gonna go back to the text tool. I'm gonna delete this. And I'm gonna write my number, which is 17. And then this looks way too small. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this move tool. I'm gonna click show transform controls. Then we'll show this, and then you can make it bigger. So while you're making it bigger, like size it up. And you'll be like, I don't really like this font. You're gonna come over here, you're gonna go to properties. But you gotta make sure you're on the text tool. Gotta go to properties, and then you can see right here, you just click this little arrow. And then it will show you all of these fonts. And I'm gonna say, I like this one right here. So I'm gonna say I like this one. So I'm gonna click it. And it does that. But we need to change the color because we don't want it to be white on white. So we'll say we're gonna change the color. So you're gonna click this and change the color till you want. So I'm gonna make it black. So now it's black. So let's go back to here, the move tool, show transform layers. And we're gonna move this around like to, let's say about there. Okay? And then so now those are our numbers. So now but we need to make our name. So we're gonna do this. make a new text layer, delete this, and then type in your name. And then go back to the move tool, make it bigger, show transform controls. Then we're going to make it bigger. Okay? And then put it about there. But the color is wrong, so I'm going to change the color. Wait, I gotta go to the text tool. And now I'm going to change the color of the gear, or of the name, to white. And then click OK. And then there is our name and number. And then what we're going to do, so now that we're finished, we're going to click the zoom tool and right click and do fit on screen. So now it's back to this. And then we're going to do image rotation 180. So it'll rotate it back to normal. And and then once we do that, we will go back to this. We need to click this so it does not show transform controls. And then after that, we're going to want to move like Daniels in 17 down below the shading. So the shading should be in this folder. So the shading, let's see where the shading is. See, the shading is right there. But if you put it down too far, it doesn't show up. So what we need to do is to move it up above the Tech 10s, but the Tech 10s should be up here. So we're going to move the Tech 10s down here and put them below Daniels. I think this might just need to be up here. Yeah. Okay, but so once we do that, you move Daniels above fluid speed and Tech 10. This is our gear. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to go edit, export as, or export, and then click export, and then you do export as. Okay. And then once we do this, I'm going to click export onto desktop, and we're going to name this, get rid of this PSC, and we're going to do fluid speed test and save. Okay, so this is our normal thing. So this is all we have to do. So that's what it's gonna look like in game. So now what we need to do is we need to get the norm and the spec. So we're gonna click the eyeball. We're gonna do the norm first. So we're gonna click this little box right here for the norm. Oh, look, see the 17 is above the norm. So what we need to do is we need to move the 17 below the norm and the spec. That's the first thing you should always remember to do. And then once we do that, we need the norm for the boots, because the boots should show up right here, but they're not. So that means that we need to find the Tech 10 boots right here. And then there's shading, colorways. Nope, the norm's not in there, so we're going to go back up. Here's the norm, so we're going to click the eyeball on that. So now you can see, so these are the boot norms. So this is all you need for the norm. So we're going to click File, Export, Export As. You're going to click Export again. This loads. Export. And then we're going to delete this right here, delete PSD, and type in norm. Then we're going to save. So now we have our normal PNG, and then we have our norm. So now we need to do the spec. So to do the spec, we need to click the eyeball on the norms. So we're going to click the eyeball on that and click the eyeball on this. So now this is back to this. So now we need to click the spec, the box on the spec. So we're going to click that. And then we're going to click this one. So now it shows up like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to do File, Export, Export As, Export, and we're going to rename this norm. Save. Wait, no, one sec. Sorry, I forgot that we already did the norm. We're going to name this spec. Sorry. Spec. Save. Okay. So now we can minus out this. We don't need this anymore. So now you can see our stuff is right here. We're going to move this to the middle. And so these are the 3 PNGs that we will need. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do right click, we're going to new, and then we're going to do new folder. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this into this folder. We're going to rename the folder. Rename. We're going to rename it like, let's say, gear test. Enter. Okay, so this is our gear test. So if we open it, you can see all of our PNGs and stuff in here. So now what we're going to want to do is we need to put our JMs and stuff in here. So we're going to open this, which I already have it open right here. So this is right here, and we're going to do V2. We're going to open V2, and then right here is all of our jams, which there's a neck brace jam, and then there is a normal jam, and then there's an FP jam. What you're going to do is you don't need the neck brace jam unless you want a neck brace. But we don't want a neck brace, so we're just going to do these 2 jams, rider body FP and then rider body. So, and we're going to drag these in here. Okay, so now we've dragged those in here. So now all we have left to do is name it. So what we're going to do is we're going to full screen this. And so this is what you need to do to name it. So we're going to click our normal gear. So we're going to right click it. And then we're going to do rename. And we're going to get rid of all this. So what you need to do to name it, you have to make sure you do this. So you got to do rider underscore body. And then once you do that, you're going to do a dash. Now after you do a dash, you're going to put your, like, what you want to name. So I'm going to name this gear test. And then you only do this on this normal one. So what you're going to do after this is you're going to put a dash. So you're going to put a dash and then put you can put whatever you want, but I'm just going to put my name, which is Daniels. And make sure you don't put any spaces in between the dashes. No spaces. But you can put a space there. And then I'm going to put my number. So Daniels 17. Enter. So that is our first name thing. So now we need to name the spec. So we're going to do this rename. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to do rider underscore body and then dash and then gear test. And then after we do that, we're going to do, instead of doing dash Daniel 17, we're just going to do underscore norm. Not cap, sorry. Norm. Okay? Why do I keep doing this? Not norm, it's the spec. Spec. Okay? So we're going to name it spec. We'll do the other one norm. Okay? So that's all you have to do for the spec. Enter. Now we're going to do the norm. Rename. Delete all that. Rider underscore body dash gear test underscore norm. Okay, so now that stuff is done. So we have the norm named, we have the spec named, and we have the gear named. So now we need to do the jams. So the jams are the same thing. You just have to do rename, and then we can keep the rider body thing that's already there. We're going to delete JR, so we're going to delete JRV or JRE, and then after we do that, we are going to do gear. You have to make sure you do this the same as this. You have to make sure you do everything the same. So gear space test and then enter. That's all we need there. So now for this one, we're going to do rename, do the same thing, but you want to make sure you keep the FP in there. Okay, so we're gonna do gear test. Enter. Okay, so now we have everything named. So we're gonna minus this out. Here's our folder. So what we're gonna do. So now we're going to open our MX Simulator folder, which you can get to this by you go to local disks, and then program files 86, and then MX Simulator. And then this is our MX Simulator folder. And then now after this, we can do put this folder right here into here. Press continue. And then, so now that's in there. So now all we have to do is we have to open sim. So we're gonna open sim. Opening MX Simulator. Okay, opening. Then we're gonna go to bike graphics, riding gear, and then we're gonna find this gear. So we're gonna keep looking. Don't see anything yet. Just keep looking. Probably gonna be in the very last page. Gear test, right here. Gear test Daniels 17. Okay? So we're gonna click it. Then we're gonna go back to main menu, new race, start. Okay? So now we are loading in to see what our gear looks like. And don't mind if the numbers look all ugly your first try. Just take your time, because it took me a while to do this, and somebody's calling me, of course. Idiot. Okay, but now we're going to do, so just loading in, and you should be able to see your gear. And if you can't see your gear, which don't mind, it might look a little ugly your first try, but you'll get better at doing it. But that you could see our gear, and yeah. But don't mind how ugly the numbers are and stuff, but you will get better at it. Like, I'll show you an example of some of the gear that I've taken my time on. Like, I'll show you this gear. Like, I took a while and made this. Like, here's some cool gear. Like, see, you can get creative with it. Like, I put a monster logo on there. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But I bought this PSD from, I can't remember who made it, but I bought it from somebody, which you can buy PSDs, or you can just download the free ones. Which the free ones they're still good, but they're not as good as the ones that you buy. But you can see you know how to make gear now. So have fun, and make sure if it doesn't work, just make sure you look over the steps and follow them again. And good job.